confused,
wildly promiscuous,
hedonistic, indecisive. They can't make up their mind, sneaky, greedy, liars. It's not real.
They just want whatever they can get.
How would you define bisexuality?
I guess I define bisexuality in a more sexual way than I'd like to admit. I actually got into an argument the other day about it, but I guess it's just people who are open to romantic involvement with people of different genders.
A person, genderless person, let's say, that is attracted to either both sexes or multi-genders. So someone that's not necessarily a lesbian, not necessarily gay, not necessarily straight.
It's like a binary sexuality. So it's having at least two different sexual preferences or identities, not specific to gender. If that was the case, then it should be called, by gender preferred or something like that.
When I think about the word, it just doesn't make me feel comfortable. It makes me feel uneasy, and it makes me feel like it's just like a judgment.
What are some of the stereotypes of bisexual people?
Oh my gosh, that they can't make up their mind, that folks are, exploring their sexuality, just like really demeaning things.
Bisexual stereotypes, many. Mostly that bisexuals are wildly promiscuous, maybe more so than the stereotypes given to even gay men. Just people that are maybe attention seekers, someone that is bisexual maybe to please one sex or the other, or to just get as many people as they can. That's the main thing that I think I hear and have had probably said myself in the past. Other than that, not many others, not many stereotypes about what kind of person they may be otherwise.
Confused, or that they're like greedy, that they're not radical enough or queer enough. Those are kind of the very negative stereotypes I hear of bisexuals. And I think when I was kind of finding my own queer identity, those were the same things I heard.
By conservative standards, being bisexual can be looked at as not being, straightforward, because a lot of people believe that if you like both genders, you're going to be sleeping with them at virtually the same time.
There's always that phrase that, bisexuality is a pit stop on the bus ride to homosexuality. So I guess there's that stereotype that it's just a process in the decision making, that it's not real.
When I was first coming into my sexuality, I was kind of like, nah, they're like part-time gay, and I'm not into that. But recently, my own life choices have made me mature and to understand that, love comes in different shapes and all different kind of avenues. But bisexuality, I just think is something where it's like you have to deal with so much flack from the gay community, you have to deal with so much flack from the straight community, and it's just, it's just a natural rhythm, just as with any other kind of love that you show for other people. So, I don't know. I don't like it as a label. I think it should be absolved.
Why do you feel people from the LGBTQ community frown upon bisexuality?
I think maybe if bisexual people were a little bit more honest, maybe they would be a little bit more welcomed. But at the same time, it's like those that are honest, the people decide to deal with them. And then if they decide, if the bisexual person decides that they're going to maybe leave for the opposite sex, or if they cheat on the partner with the opposite sex, it's almost like insult to injury. So I don't know if it's a double standard thing, but to me, if you get left, you get left. It doesn't make a difference if it's for the same sex or the opposite sex. So I'm just figuring maybe it's more like an insecurity, self-projection of anger thing.
I mean, I think like in every community, we try to place people in boxes to define them because it makes it easier for us, right? It helps us understand other people when we can define them. So I think that people in the LGBTQ community, it's hard to define a bisexual. Like, are you attracted to me as a woman or are you attracted to me? And you don't know. So, and people are uncomfortable with that. They're uncomfortable with things being, what's the word? Ambiguous.
I mean, I think there's some fears of rejection and being used. I think some people feel that, where they're afraid to build relationships with someone that could be attracted to heteronormative people. And I think that stems from, experiences of homophobia and rejection. So I think in some ways I don't want to say that they're legitimate, but they're understandable. But I think it comes from a place of fear.
It's funny though, because when I was talking to some of my friends about dating a guy, I told a couple different people, and 4 people who didn't know each other, never had a conversation with each other, all texted me, he has a penis? I was like, are you serious? Like, this is the first question that you guys ask, and not like, what does he do? Like, is he on drugs? They're just like, do you know he has a penis? I was like, I do. I've seen it. Like, it was good.
Have you ever considered yourself bisexual?
I never thought of myself as bisexual. I think that I understood queer as something that was real to me in my experience.
I wouldn't necessarily say that I was bisexual. I guess maybe for like 2.5 seconds. It was either, I knew that I was attracted to both, but it was which one. So I don't know if that's considered to be like bisexual, because it was literally for like 2.5 seconds.
I don't know if I ever considered myself bisexual. I know there was a time where maybe when I was early teens, I thought that was maybe an option because I wasn't really dating around with guys, but I feel like every once in a while my mom would ask what boys I liked and I had no answer ever, and so that was kind of weird.
I don't know if I ever used the term bisexual, but I didn't have the word queer at my disposal, and I guess by definition I would have fallen into that category, where I was attracted to both men and women, and I received a lot of rejection around that. I called myself hetero-flexible for a while because I hadn't had a relationship with a woman, but I was attracted to women.
When first coming out when I was younger, went through a phase where I was more comfortable to possibly identify as bisexual, even though there is that stigma of it. It was in a transition of really figuring out who I was that I definitely went through a very brief period. That to very few people I define myself as bisexual.
Yeah, I consider myself bisexual for all purposes of brevity. The queer community, for a long time I just wanted to say that I was a lesbian because bisexuality had this stigma attached to it. So-called lesbian girls would be like, oh, you're gonna have a man, you're gonna cheat on me, you're gonna leave me for a man, and men would be like, oh, you're gonna cheat on me with a woman, or thought that was like the automatic invitation to, two women and men sexual encounter. Now I think I have a little more peace with it, but I just don't think it's a binary. It's not like a gay, straight binary, so I think most people are probably bisexual, but it's not like I'm 50% one or the other. I think we're human, so it doesn't really work like that. It doesn't go into percentages,
My experiences with people thinking about bisexuality, it's oftentimes these unspoken ideas and these implicit biases that we place on people once we have this idea that they're, possibly having sex with more than one gender. It gets so sexual, it just goes to the base level, and it doesn't really talk about what, you find interesting on that intimate level with folks. you know?
Like coming out to the straight friends, like my straight friends were mad at me, my gay friends were mad at me. They were like, we're used to you being gay, you're supposed to be with women, you're supposed to bring women home, how are you bringing this dude? Yeah. And then they're like, we like him, but he's not a woman. It's just like, I don't give a fuck.
Do you feel bisexuality is becoming more accepted?
I don't know that it is or that it isn't. I think that among like radical queer circles, it's become more taboo to reject and to criticize anybody's like self-identity. But that's just been my experience. That could just be my experience here in Brooklyn. But I really don't know. As someone that's not identified as bisexual, I don't really want to speak for the experiences of bisexuals. I just know that it's difficult when you're feminine presenting and attracted to both sexes to gain some sort of legitimacy within queer circles.
I mean, I think it's becoming more accepted in straight communities to say that you're interested in kissing girls if you're a woman. But I don't think it's actual being a bisexual, actually being attracted to people of different sexes. I don't think that that's actually becoming more acceptable.
Bisexuality is either a persecuted type or not even thought about sometimes. So I'm not really sure, to be honest. I feel like it's really within each person, within whatever community, to deal with it or not.
I do. I mean, I think all sexual identities are more acceptable today than they were 5 years, 10 years, 20 years ago. I don't think we're by any means where we need to be in terms of accepting people for who they are and allowing people to have fluidness in their sexuality and for them to define it on their own and to not be afraid of what's different from ourselves. But I would say yes, that bisexuality is definitely more accepted now than it was previously.
I think it's funny. I think like is not knowing becoming more accepted, is being sort of open to multiple experiences becoming more accepted? Yes, I think so, definitely. Does it live in like bisexuality? I'm not sure. And so I welcome lots of conversation around that.
She's so small, you guys should look like you're throwing her. And how did it feel?
Beyonce? Oh, yeah, she's like so hot in here.
Oh my gosh, what Beyonce girl?